Israeli airstrikes last night shattered the ceasefire, killing families in their homes and displacing countless civilians across Gaza. Children were killed in their sleep. Others had just woken for their pre-dawn Ramadan meal. The attacks threatened to plunge Gaza into yet another cycle of mass death, destruction, and displacement. NRC teams in Gaza were shaken awake by deafening explosions as bombardments began. Phone lines were immediately jammed as people tried to check on their families and loved ones. People across Gaza are in shock and disbelief at the collapse of the ceasefire and terrified of what it means. Palestinian civilians have endured 17 months of relentless hostilities, and after weeks of a total aid blockade, they are now left with little food, clean water, and medical care. Famine may take hold among families already surviving on scraps. Gaza's health system has collapsed. Only a handful of hospitals remain partially functional, overwhelmed, and running out of supplies. Many wounded in last night's strikes will find no medical care, as doctors struggle to treat the injured with no medicines, no equipment, and no fuel. This escalation also prolongs the suffering of Israeli hostages and their families, delaying their long-awaited release. Every day this crisis continues is another day of suffering for civilians on all sides. Governments must act now. Israel's siege, bombardment, and killing of civilians cannot be met with more empty statements. States with influence must demand an end to the attacks and ensure that aid reaches Gaza immediately. Without intervention, more lives will be lost, and history will record their failure. Our NRC aid workers remain on duty in Gaza, but relentless airstrikes alongside the prohibition on aid and commercial supplies make aid operations nearly impossible. The longer the delay, the greater the suffering, and the path to any resolution grows more distant. A ceasefire is not just necessary, it is the only way to prevent further catastrophe.